Well, today, we're taking a deep dive into a surprising corner of the AI world, the ancient language of Sanskrit. You might be thinking, wait, Sanskrit, isn't that like a really old language? And you'll be right. But as we'll see, it's making a huge comeback in the cutting-edge world of AI. Get this. One of the coolest things about Sanskrit is its incredibly precise grammar. We're talking rules upon rules laid out in such detail that it's almost like an algorithm itself. And who do we have to thank for this? An ancient scholar named Panini, who basically created the rule book for the language centuries ago. To give you an idea of just how detailed this is, imagine trying to explain every single nuance of English grammar, all the exceptions, all the quirks, in a way that a computer could understand. Pretty daunting, right? Well, Panini did that for Sanskrit. He created a system so clear and consistent that it's basically a programmer's dream. Now, why does this matter for AI? Well, think about it. AI systems rely on algorithms to learn and process information. And when it comes to language, the clearer the rules, the easier it is for a machine to learn. So Sanskrit's superstructured grammar is like a cheat code for AI, especially in areas like natural language processing. By the way, if you're not familiar with natural language processing, it's basically the field of AI that focuses on computers understanding and working with human language. And it's a big deal. This is where Sanskrit's precision really shines. Imagine you're trying to teach a computer to translate between English and, say, Japanese. These languages have very different structures, making accurate translation tricky. But because Sanskrit's grammar is so clear-cut, AI systems trained on it can learn to recognize the underlying meaning of a sentence no matter how the words were arranged. It's like having a universal translator that can decode the logic behind any language. And this leads to smoother, more natural-sounding translations, even between languages that are usually tough to translate.
But Sanskrit's contribution to AI goes beyond just grammar. Remember those Sanskrit verses or shlokas you might have heard about? They're not just beautiful poetry. They're packed with meaning and wisdom, often using metaphors and symbolism. And because they're so concise and structured, they're perfect for training AI to recognize patterns in language and extract meaning from text. It's like teaching an AI to understand not just what we say, but what we really mean. We're talking about AI that can grasp things like idioms, cultural references, even humor. Imagine a chatbot that can actually get your jokes, or a virtual assistant that can understand the emotional tone of your emails. That's the kind of potential we're unlocking by incorporating Sanskrit into the world of AI. And it's not just about practical applications either. Sanskrit is deeply connected to philosophy and mathematics fields that explore big questions about existence, consciousness, and the universe. So in a way, we're tapping into centuries of philosophical and mathematical thought when we use Sanskrit in AI. How is Sanskrit actually being used in AI today? Remember how we talked about Sanskrit's clear-cut grammar making it easier for AI to understand the core meaning of a sentence? Well, this is especially helpful when translating between languages with very different structures. Let's say you're trying to translate a sentence from English to Japanese. English relies heavily on word order to convey meaning. The dog chased the cat means something totally different from a cat chased the dog. But in Sanskrit, word order is more flexible. The meaning stays the same even if you shuffle the words around. This means that an AI trained on Sanskrit can learn to look beyond word order and focus on the underlying relationships between words. It's like teaching the AI to see the bigger picture, rather than getting hung up on the specific arrangement of words. And this leads to more accurate and natural-sounding translations, even for languages that are notoriously difficult to translate. But hold on, there's more. Sanskrit's structure isn't just about making translations accurate. It's also about capturing the beauty and nuance of human expression. Think about those Sanskrit verses we talked about earlier, the ones packed with metaphors and symbolism. Well, by training AI on these texts, we're essentially giving it a crash course in poetic language. And understanding those layers of meaning that go beyond the literal is like teaching an AI to appreciate the art of language, to understand not just what we say, but how we say it and what we really mean. And this has huge implications for all sorts of AI applications. Imagine a chatbot that can not only answer your questions, but also understand your tone and respond with empathy. Or picture a virtual assistant that can write a poem that captures the essence of a particular culture. That's the kind of magic we're talking about. Now, of course, there are challenges too. One of the biggest hurdles is that a lot of Sanskrit texts are still well ancient. We're talking manuscripts, inscriptions, and palm leaf scrolls. Not exactly the easiest things for an AI to access. Digitizing these texts is a massive undertaking, but it's crucial if we want to unlock their full potential for AI research. It's like an archaeological dig for the digital age. Another challenge is the sheer complexity of Sanskrit. It's a rich and nuanced language that takes years to master, even for humans. So developing AI systems that can truly grasp Sanskrit requires a unique combination of expertise. Linguists, computer scientists, and even Sanskrit scholars
all need to work together. It's a real team effort. But despite these challenges, the possibilities are incredibly exciting. We're talking about AI that can not only translate languages, but also understand them deeply. AI that can grasp the subtle shades of meaning and emotion that make human communication so unique. And who knows, maybe in the process of teaching AI about Sanskrit, we might even rediscover something about ourselves. To develop AI that's not just intelligent, but also ethical. I know it sounds a bit out there, but stick with me. Sanskrit has a long and rich philosophical tradition. For centuries, scholars have used it to explore profound questions about morality, ethics, and the nature of reality. We're talking about concepts like dharma, karma, and ahimsa, principles of righteousness, action and consequence, and nonviolence. These ideas have shaped ethical thinking in many cultures for like millennia. Now, some researchers believe that we can actually draw on these ancient concepts to develop AI systems that are grounded in a strong ethical framework. You imagine AI that's not just capable of making decisions, but making decisions that are aligned with human values, like compassion, fairness, and nonviolence. It's a pretty bold idea, right? But think about it this way. If we're going to entrust AI with more and more responsibility in our lives, don't we want to make sure that it's operating from a solid ethical foundation? And nobody wants a super intelligent AI making decisions that could harm humanity. So how would this actually work? Well, researchers are exploring ways to translate these philosophical principles from Sanskrit texts into algorithms and decision-making processes for AI. It's like teaching AI to think ethically, not just logically. For example, the concept of ahimsa, or nonviolence, could be used to develop AI systems that prioritize minimizing harm in their actions. Imagine self-driving cars that are programmed to avoid accidents at all costs, even if it means taking a slightly less efficient route. Or think about medical AI that's designed to recommend treatments that are not only effective, but also cause the least amount of pain and suffering for the patient. Of course, building ethical AI is a complex challenge. It's not just about feeding a bunch of Sanskrit verses into a computer and hoping for the best. We need to figure out how to extract the underlying principles and translate them into a language that AI can understand and apply. It's like teaching AI to not only follow the rules, but to understand the spirit behind the rules. But if we can pull it off, the potential benefits are enormous. We could see AI that helps us address some of the world's most pressing problems like poverty, inequality, and climate change, all while operating with a deep sense of ethics and responsibility. We've journeyed from the intricate grammar of Sanskrit to the profound world of ancient philosophy, all while exploring how this ancient language could shape the future of AI. Who would have thought that a language that's been around for thousands of years could be so relevant to one of the most cutting-edge fields of our time? It really makes you wonder what other hidden treasures are waiting to be discovered, doesn't it? Maybe it's time to dust off that old Sanskrit textbook or explore the potential of other lesser-known languages in AI. There's a whole world of linguistic innovation out there just waiting to be explored.